What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Friday, April 11th. We're 1 week away before the SmackDown, before WrestleMania. I guess what do you call that? Mania Eve? We're a week away from WrestleMania Eve. I'm stoked about it. We're going to give you a weekend preview. We've got some fun news topics to talk about. I've got a sweet crew hanging out with me. Let me introduce them to you really quick. First and foremost, out in the DMV, we got Shady. What's going on? The Tuesday Night Delight.
What's good, Clark? It is great to be back on the podcasting circuit. It's been a while. I've only done the off the air show today, so I'm glad to be on today. And yeah, man, let's talk about it. We got a lot of fun topics today.
No doubt about it. But before we do, kind of your rival is in the building, and I'm stoked about it. All the way from across the pond, Mr. In the Bank himself, Mickey's best pal, Jordy in the Bank. What's going on, my friend?
Yeah, mate, I'm good, and I am Shad's rival, and that is something that puts a big smile on my face. You know what? I said on Tuesday that I miss him being around, and I do. I miss having someone to challenge me like that because, you know, it brings out the best. Competition always brings out the best.
It's going to keep us on our toes.
Technical difficulties must have struck him. It seems like he lost his voice. I don't know what happened over there.
Shad's mute happy again. I'm kidding.
Was that
I don't like it. I don't like it. I was being nice. That's not going to happen anymore.
How can one man have so much power? That's unbelievable. I'm just saying. Okay, we've got in the comments, out of the gates, as usual, good friend of the show, Fernando Zayas, with happy Friday crew, and then happy Friday WR crew. Absolutely, what's going on? Hello from number one Superfly. Let's get right into our first topic, though, guys. Gunther.
Oh my God.
Gunther. What
are the kids call this nowadays? Glazing?
Something like that. Yeah, I think that's the name for it. They've got I don't know. Gunther basically said that Triple H saved wrestling. It was I think he added to that. If someone has the exact quote, I'm not 100% sure, but it was pretty intense. And I love this from Sean Ellis. Aloha, everybody. Happy Friday. Absolutely. That's way better than this one. I don't know. It's such an aggressive thing to say. It's only been a few years. I don't know. It's been an established industry, entertainment-wise, for so long. I don't know if I can personally be like, you know what? Definitely Triple H saved it. Has he had a positive impact? For sure. But that is just such a hyperbole type statement just to lob it all.
I got the full quote there for you as well.
Yes.
So
do you want to read that, or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, I can read it. He said, Gunther on Triple H, he saved professional wrestling to a big degree, with him opening the world to WWE and creating so many jobs and opportunities back then for so many of the guys like us all, the European guys, which is, that's man.
It also makes a little bit more sense because I feel like he's giving Triple H credit for stuff that happened before he fully took over creative. I didn't really understand the concepts of that truthfully, but I also think it's still just an extreme thing to say. I don't know, Shad, you talk to me about this one.
All right, so this was a very company answer, right? He's a company guy at the end of the day. Gunther is going to promote the WWE for what it is. And more so, he's going to promote this new era of WWE. Now, how you generalize pro wrestling to the WWE is where it gets dicey. Because if he wants to say Triple H saved WWE, everything in regards to how the company operates, the atmosphere, and all the stench that was from Vince McMahon prior to it. Well, yeah, I would agree with him on that. I think Triple H has made WWE a lot more palatable. It's made it a hot commodity. They've had more wrestling-centric aspects to it than we had before. Better storylines have kind of progressed at the end of the day. But if you're talking about the entirety of professional wrestling, then that's when I kind of have a little bit of an issue, because that's taking away from a lot that is the backbone of pro wrestling, that is not WWE. You talk about what's going across the pond out in the Europe, out in the UK. You can even argue that WWE, as he said, gave a lot of European guys jobs. They also lost a lot of jobs for a lot of European wrestlers. All right, like that. We can always note that, but there's a lot of great promotions out there in Japan. New Japan, in a sense, is such a staple to what pro wrestling is, pure professional wrestling. Then you got promotions like TNA that have been long lasting from its entirety. You got an AEW, which is another big time wrestling promotion that has given a lot of wrestlers jobs, opportunities, and allowed a lot of people to become major stars in the process. So, with that being said, a lot of what I just mentioned was prior to Triple H coming into the fold. Now, I do think if you want to add it to the NXT aspect of Black and Gold, yeah, like Triple H has definitely done so much great for the WWE, and I think he has saved the WWE. But to say the entirety of pro wrestling is going to be pro wrestling at the end of the day, whether it's on a big time platform where it's, you see the manias and all that, okay, whatever, but that doesn't mean all of professional wrestling. There's a lot of people out there that don't even really fully watch WWE on a weekly basis. So
I 100% agree with you, Shad, because if the statement had been he saved WWE, no problem. I'm all in, right? We definitely don't have 10 minutes or 15 minutes to talk about this one if that's the case, right? Like, there just isn't, right? That it changes the entire thing. The fact that he invoked the entire industry, and you brought up perfect examples as far as like the global impact and whatnot. Another thing that I also find interesting is, and I love this comment from friend of the show here, I make beats. NXT crippled the indies, dog. Not only that,
he's not
they
wrong.
cut NXT UK under Triple H's watchful eye. They cut the whole program,
and that's what I'm saying. So to say in the same breath that he gave a lot of jobs to European guys and girls or whatnot, he took away a lot of jobs from probably more European guys and girls. When you think about it, right? Like I'm not about to do the numbers game and count which wrestlers are European on the roster. I know there's plenty of them. Gunther, Pete Dunne, all of them. But there's a lot of people that we've got a chance to interview on Sunday Spotlight that have got cut ties because NXT Europe, NXT UK was completely done. Oh yeah, what about NXT Europe? I thought that was supposed to be a thing. What happened?
Yeah, RIP NXT UK and NXT Europe never happened. DCX Warlord, we've got some other great comments here. Sean Ellis agrees with you, Shad, as well. So does I Make Beats.
Sean Ellis.
And then I Make Beats added, this made me laugh so hard. I don't like Triple Paul, but yeah, he's the better of two evils.
Triple Paul.
Triple Paul? I might never call him anything else. Paul.
I like that.
Triple Paul. Because Triple P is too extreme. You can't go with Triple P, but it's Triple Paul
like
forever now. Paul. That's amazing. I'm sorry. I'm 10 years old. Jordy, though, do you think Triple H saved wrestling in the words of the current world champion Gunther?
The fact that you lead in with, in the words of the current world champion, do you think that he's right about saying his boss saved wrestling? No, he's not. I've been trying
questions.
I've been really trying to find a way to be like, how can I devil's advocate this to try and give a different point of view. And I'm literally scratching my head as you're looking at me, because it's just difficult. Like, there is an argument to make if you're going to put like a group of people, but it's such a broad statement. Like you say, if you narrow it down to WWE, I would even say there's an argument to say that the likes of Cody Rhodes maybe did more to save wrestling than what Triple H has done. He's steered the ship of WWE, which was a ship that was perhaps heading for an iceberg at one point, and he's steered it out of the way 100%. And we're in paradise right now. The Netflix deal is going well. We're still early into the Netflix deal. What if the Netflix deal doesn't end up being such a good thing? and then Triple H has got that to his name. Do you know what I mean? So it's just so early to say that. There was one thing that keeps coming out, and I'll always stand by this, and we see it because it, in the sense of like, there's no Raw or SmackDown on Christmas week because they go and spend it with the families, and if something big happens, then they get to go and get that time off, and that change looks like it has happened. So from a wrestler's perspective, he may have saved it in the sense it's like for WWE, it doesn't look like as much of an unattractive style of a lifestyle anymore, perhaps maybe, and so more people want to do it, and then in the long run that has a knock-on effect and has a good kind of substantial effect, and maybe doing a good bit of work for wrestling. But I'm just so conscious to say saving wrestling because, like, yeah, it's just, that's not true. That isn't true.
It isn't entirely true. It's just too broad of a statement, and I think you said that pretty perfectly there, Jordy. I know it's like it's kind of difficult because you're like, there's some truth, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
because none of us are sitting here trying to say Triple H has done something negative or done something bad for wrestling, but there's a point to him as like a singular savior of the entire industry. I think is a bit of a reach.
This is why I'll always take a Chris Van Vliet over an Ariel Helwani interview,
I would
because
agree.
Gunther would never come out of a Chris Van Vliet interview and having said this, because he wouldn't have been baited into
true, and
perhaps
we even
saying
got-
that. And that just kind of sucks a little bit, because Gunther's not going to come out of this looking good. And in the same interview, we have to bear in mind, he said out of the, I can't remember the exact amount, but say it was out of the 1,000 days he's been at WWE, 800 of them he's been a champion. So like,
yes, and we've had
he saved Gunther's life 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
and here's the other thing
Let me
too.
read the
Gunther, go ahead, my bad.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm like, I've been
You want me
waiting.
to read it?
Roundhead,
Oh.
first time commenter. Thank you so much, and I've been meaning to read it for a while, so I feel bad. I was like holding off, and I'm like, no, I got to get to it before I miss it. No, it's all good. Hard to look at it any other way except for the fact that Ariel was twisting what he said. He loved the headline, throwing guests under the bus. So exactly the sentiments that you had there, Jordy, as well. Like in agreement on that. I mean, it just happens. It's interesting. This is really funny. Next, Gunther's. Stephanie saved wrestling.
Then we have something to argue about. Then we get our back up about that, because there's only one wrestling podcast.
But I mean,
I think, go on, Shad.
I do also have to, call a spade a spade. As great as Triple H is doing, it definitely feels like the WW media circuit and professional wrestlers, when they get on these media platforms, have to always praise him. I feel a lot of it is optics. I think they really want to erase everything that has Vince McMahon fingerprinted on that company and get rid of it for good reasons. I'm not saying it's for bad reasons, but the constant reminder that we have to get of Triple H is doing all of this, he has made it so much better, is not a great thing for the long term of WWE. Case in point, the build to WrestleMania. This is not the best build to WrestleMania on Triple H's dime compared to last year, even. Us as fans have every right to criticize it, to critique it, to want better, to want more from this God, Savior, Booker of professional wrestling, Triple H. But the moment we put him so high on the pedestal, hey man, we can't say nothing to him. He saved pro wrestling apparently. I mean, shoot, who am I to critique him?
You reminded me of something funny. My buddy, that he's a more casual fan than us, but he's watched for his whole life, right? And we went to the Rumble together. My buddy Nick, he had a great quote talking about Triple H. He was like, it seems like a lot of people really appreciate his booking style and stuff since he's taken over, creative and everything, and he's the figurehead, and like people seem to really like him. And he kind of thought about it for a second, and he goes, "It's not like you had to follow Derek Jeter, though."
Yeah.
Right? Like expectations wise, it wasn't that hard to beat the last guy as far as public facing and reputation is concerned.
Vince was so, besides all the, nasty man stuff that's tied to him, but Vince's booking became so putrid towards the last part of whatever he controlled the WWE. I say the last like 5 to 8 years, right? It became so bad that honestly, me, and Jordy could get the books, and we would be lights out better bookers than what Vince was doing. Like
The
it
only
wasn't
thing-
a big.
It's so true. It
thing.
was not a big. It's not tough act to follow at that stage of his career, right?
Yeah.
Like you could have got anybody in there, and they're going to do better. Now, I will
Just
say one
any
thing.
change, wasn't it? That's what anybody wanted. We just wanted change.
Well,
Didn't matter
also
who it
this.
was.
Hold up. This
Sorry, go
comment
ahead.
from I Make Beats. Good wrestling, save good wrestling. The booking's been all over the place. When do
agree.
we give credit to the roster as well? Because his
That's true.
job,
The talent saved
is-
wrestling.
yeah, his job is not. His job is hard, right? But his job is a lot easier because this is arguably one of the best constructed rosters, men to women, that the WWE has in a while, dog. Like I haven't seen this many superstars on both sides of the coin in a minute.
I agree, and I was going to add one more thing, and it's kind of wild. I don't want to have my words twisted because I'm not trying to say that it specifically saved wrestling, but I also think that during the pandemic, wrestling being the only show going, we still had wrestling. Sports were shut down. Everybody was at home. We still had pro wrestling. We saw WrestleMania 36 presented in such a unique way, and all of that. What AEW was doing at Daly's Place, when ROH running shows, multiple companies running shows during that time. Even the, I would say, lapsed fans from, sort of the era where things got a little bit not as fun, a little bit repetitive, a little bit not what we wanted, came back because, that's what was there to watch during that time, and the performers delivered. And that's, to me, one of the biggest things, this surge that we've seen is essentially, you combine that with the launch of AEW, all of this, it's a money cannon through the industry.
I honestly think you've got to look at Cody Rhodes as much as Triple H.
No, Cody is a great
which
mention.
such as like when you look at the common denominator at AEW when it started
before Triple H took over also.
Yeah, like if you look at, he is a common denominator. WWE is doing better than it ever. AEW, probably when he was there, his peak was doing better than it ever was. So like the common denominator right there is Cody Rhodes. Like Triple H has done good for one team, but Cody's played an absolute blinder for both. I
actually disagree.
Okay,
you know who saved WWE?
It's not like us.
You know who saved WWE? Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah,
that's a good point.
That's when WWE became very palatable again. Is once the creation of the tribal chief happened. And I mean,
that Triple H, or is that
almost
Vince?
say Paul Heyman.
There wasn't. That was a Paul Heyman and Vince.
That's Paul Heyman's idea,
but more of a Paul Heyman creation.
Paul, it's always Paul.
Yeah.
Paul.
I do think it's funny though. I like to give credit
Paul.
Just because he's been around for so long, and I enjoy him from an entertainment standpoint. I like to give credit for the good things that Paul does, and then there are a number of things he's messed up, and I'm just always like, yeah, but it's like,
But let's talk about the good.
Yeah,
sometimes the good outweirs the bad. Sometimes
I
it's the other way.
He didn't pay talent in the 90s and gave him bounced checks. Things like that.
We've watched the documentary.
I know what he did. I've seen the documentaries.
That was a while.
It was a long time ago.
What murder?
Oh, it's too funny. All right, let's keep it rolling though. We got a really fun topic here. And Shad, I'm going to go to you first, but we're all picking a match here. How could we not when it comes to this one? What, in your eyes, is CM Punk's greatest match of all time?
Yeah, so first and foremost, CM Punk, I guess on the record this week, noted that his favorite or his best match of all time was John Cena on Raw 2013. Kind of the end-off match between them. I believe that was the build up to the Mania where he kind of got effed over and he left WWE a little bit after that. But that was an absolute classic. For me personally, and this is only me personally speaking, we are on the road to WrestleMania right now, guys. We are in an avenue where WWE is at peak volume and they are clicking on all cylinders. We have our savior back, Mr. Phil Brooks, CM Punk. And it would only be amazing to talk about his best wrestling match in the company where the best wrestle. His greatest wrestling match of all time, dog collar match, AEW Revolution, MJF versus CM Punk. One of the greatest AEW storylines of all time. The first storyline that we had CM Punk locked in, returning back from professional wrestling, from an industry that had left him scarred, and so personal, the build to it. So much avenues of a young guy who looked up to him going against his, idol, and just the physicality, the bloodshed, Wardlow having enough of MJF, sliding Punk the ring, everything about it was just absolute brilliance of a dog collar match. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. That was some peak wrestling for me in the last 5 years when we had Punk returning. Yeah, man. For me personally, Punk and MJF dog collar match, man.
That is a great pick, Shad. I think that's one that could easily be overlooked too in hindsight, and it shouldn't be because it is an all-time match. I love that. One of the best dog collar matches I've ever seen in my life. No doubt about it. But Jordy, what are you going with?
This. Great match as well, and it's well documented. I don't watch as much AEW. I've seen that match. I've seen a lot of that feud, and great, really good. And you broke it down really well. It pains me to say it, Shad. It's still so close. But my favorite match is CM Punk versus Cena at Money in the Bank in Chicago. Just it's etched in my brain. I can see it now. Him blowing the kiss, and like, honestly, the other one I didn't want to be boring. Is the one on Raw, because I remember watching that match and like just thinking, wow, these two are throwing it down tonight on a Monday night of all things, on the build up to WrestleMania. And yeah, they put on a banger. But for the moment, I think I've got to go Money in the Bank.
No doubt. That's a great shout. I think that's his most famous match. No question about it. It was also in my hometown of Chicago. But I'm going to go with the match against Samoa Joe at All In. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't even get the whole sentence out.
Not the Jack
I can't. I could see myself in the camera. Like, I can't take myself seriously and say that aloud. No, it's the Money in the Bank match for me as well, Jordy. I hate to do the double down agree, but I can't pick the one that's outside of my hometown. Right? That was in Chicago.
That's my bad.
No, that's not your fault. The crowd is great. That's what I truly believe. But
and I had a couple honorable mentions though, because that one. I mean, honestly, the most notable one definitely is the Money in the Bank match. That was such a classic moment. Like you mentioned, blowing the kiss, but one right here, Archie mentioned, bro. I believe the Mania Taker versus Punk.
Yeah,
classic. That was a great match. You know. And,
I'd even give Drew and Punk in the Hell in a Cell an honorable mention. It's not the best ever, but.
And another one for me, my second favorite one, CM Punk, Jeff Hardy, TLC match, SummerSlam 2009. Yeah, just that entire build and storyline was so crazy. Punk was hitting them with low blows going into it, and just the physicality of that match, man. That match was incredible too. So Jeff was giving us some straight bangers in that around that time frame too.
DCX Warlord with
Brawl Out.
So
Yeah, I was gonna say
he's got the 6-man tag of Kenny and the Bucks against Ace Austin, Punk, and Larry. On the list. I didn't have that one. Backstage. There's no footage, but I've heard it was a heck of a scrap. I don't know. Archie's got Punk versus Jack Perry as well.
It was a good match.
Always great when a segment is perfectly on the rails until we let it become a joke. I'm just saying. When it comes to Punk, but I think we had all the great picks. We've covered a lot of them, and to be honest, we took our dang time on Triple H. So let's keep it moving here. Let me talk really quickly to everybody about Etsy. If you have not downloaded the app, go ahead and do so. It's on the App Store and the Google Play Store. Head to the upcoming stream section, 9 a.m. Pacific tomorrow morning, noon Eastern. That's 5 o'clock in the UK and 6 a.m. in Hawaii for my friends over there. we'll be live with our WrestleMania predictions. It's me, Takes, Big Ant, you. And if you want to come on, give some of your predictions and argue with us, feel free. As long as you got a cell phone, you can do so. Check that out right away. I assure you, you will enjoy it. But speaking of things we're going to enjoy, let's move on to our next topic. So McIntyre versus Damian Priest is now official. And I feel like every time I'm on a show with you, Jordy, I get given a topic where it was just a really, really obvious announcement. Like we all knew it. And then I have to ask you, like, did you see it coming?
I've got more to say on this one. Yeah.
Please expound on that one.
I have got a more interesting point on this. So yeah, it is official. Like you said, it's something that we saw coming, but it's something that is flagged up to me as somebody that kind of works within marketing in my professional life, that there has been a couple, maybe 3 now, I want to say, WrestleMania matches announced on social media. And that just doesn't sit right with me. Like that, it should be shouted down the microphone. You should be pointing at the sign. Like you're robbing these, and it's cool, good for Nick Aldis and Pierce. They should get to shout and point at the sign when they announce the matches as well. But like, you're taking these cool moments away from the wrestlers, and it just makes the feud feel a little bit nothing. And this particular one with McIntyre and Priest is not a nothing match. This has actually had a fair bit of build, and what they're selling is that it's been building over a year. So to me, this shouldn't have been an announcement in the way it was. Like SmackDown's tonight, the face-to-face tonight. Like what? Why could we not just wait? It's almost like the Charlotte Flair thing again, announcing it before. Like, why are we? I really don't. I'm intrigued to the point. That's why I said it's like a professional career thing, because like it's a conscious decision has been made by WWE to do this, and I'm so intrigued as to why they're doing it. Like, what are we gaining from it apart from maybe Aldis and Pierce getting followers, which good for them. Love the guys, but like
strategically, it doesn't make any sense to your point. Like that's why I cut back to yours. Whatever happened to like calling someone out? You and me at WrestleMania.
Wow.
Like, where did that go? Why is that just like a lost
like a rite of passage, isn't it? Like,
yeah, you, me, WrestleMania.
But also, why should we care? Like, if it's not, here's the thing, bro. If you're not gonna announce it on an actual show, that shows that you don't care enough for the match to actually be announced on your ample amount of TV time. Yeah. This is Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. These are 2 former world champions. These are 2 guys that literally were tied to a world title match last Mania. The story could have been told and brought back all of that, and they're gonna wrap it up so nice with that little promo video on the 0 hour show that they do, and it's gonna make people forget about it, or the casuals are gonna think this is the greatest thing of all time. But for us that watch it, there ain't much build to it. Like, the last thing I saw was a little backstage brawl where he slammed him on a car. Like, I feel like it's
got an eye patch now, hasn't he?
Yeah, like, dude, Drew McIntyre needs to be rewarded for a little bit more for what he's done for this company last year. Damian Priest needs to be rewarded for what he's done for this company. The man had a banger match against the most popular reggaeton artist in the entire world, who doesn't wrestle. Like, come on, man.
It's wild. Like, Priest and McIntyre are so good. It just feels like it was just now. But we all also saw it coming. We're like, it's got to be Priest and McIntyre, right?
Yeah.
They just,
well, there was a lot of the
dots. So it was like, because we saw it coming, they just were like, okay, then we'll just tell you. Is what it felt like.
That's what I felt, and it felt like there was. We were connecting the dots, and it was like these 2 are gonna have what was being described online as a nothing match. That was kept getting thrown around, a nothing match, and then they showed us a promo, and it actually was like, actually, this story has been going since last year, and I was like, okay, cool, all right, I'm excited. Tell me more. Tell me more of this story then. And then they didn't.
This is the same stuff AEW does a lot with their pay-per-views. They just throw a bunch of matches on the last second of it, with no build, not announced. It's on like their, Excalibur either says it really quickly, or it's on like their Twitter page or IG. Like, maybe this is just how the world of pro wrestling is, where they're trying to like make something important for all aspects of like
I want
their
to see
numbers,
people shouting and pointing.
Still, like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, also both these guys are so good on the mic. Just some interaction to provide some intensity. Here, so close, right? So
And the
close
fact
to the finish line.
that
That
we're getting some tonight, right? Like they are face to face tonight. So like I really just don't quite understand why we've jumped the
it,
gun on this. They could have had the pointing and the shouting, and one of them
right?
could have beat the other one down. They don't even need to. They just point. You know, like
Yeah,
even
just
that.
the you, me, the sign, whatever, right? But
Yeah.
just heat up the rivalry again. The video package, to your point, was excellent.
Mhm.
It did remind us that this has been built
There's a
over a long
story.
time. But we needed to be reminded is the key to that.
Yes. Yes.
That's the key, right? We did need to be reminded because it's been on the back burner for a while, which happens. I think that's sometimes you need to let rivalries rest and sit and whatever. But just to then be like, oh, you guys guessed it, then here it is what it felt like, right? Like, oh, y'all guessed it. Here you go. Like, you know what I mean? You smelled the bagel bites in the oven. They're ready. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I get you.
it's just like what do you do with that? Oh man, why do people keep posting their cell phone numbers in the comment section? Don't do that. We are not going to call you. But
In the words of Matt Hardy, delete.
Yeah. Who are you gonna
The
call? Nobody.
That was a Facebook one too.
Yeah, it was. That was wild. All right. Let's get into the weekend preview, though. Let's preview the weekend. We've got one ahead of us. Shoddy, obviously, you and I think Jordy as well, really do want to talk about Windy City Riot, but I'm going to save the best for last. Let's go really quick out of the gates. Phoenix takes on Berto tonight on SmackDown. I love Ray Phoenix. Well, why does Penta get Gable and he gets Berto? What are we doing here? What?
You
Stop.
saw. By the
Knock
way,
it off.
you saw Penta was on ESPN Deportes yesterday, and he said what you've been saying. Ray Phoenix is the best in ring wrestler damn near in the world.
It's true. I truly believe it. I think he's absolutely number one, the best luchador, and number two, I think there's an argument to be made he's the best belt wrestler. I've seen him put on matches he had zero chance of winning against Kenny Omega, countless names, and he'll convince you halfway through the match it's possible. He's one of the few people in the business I've seen that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like, oh, he has no chance tonight. And the other thing is, he walks. There's a lot of guys that walk the ropes really cool. He walks the ropes the coolest since the Undertaker.
Yeah,
The way he does that spot across the ropes, it's not even, and he does it faster. It looks like he's salsa dancing across the ropes. It's unfreaking believable the athleticism it takes to do those type of spots. I know CM Punk said we're not allowed to say move set, but I'm going to say it. I think he's got the deepest move set of arguably anyone in the game. He could wrestle a match as you.
apart from John Cena, probably.
Well, John Cena's got the 5 of Doom. I love this moves.
All right, Jordy.
Absolutely. And then guarantee Berto and Phoenix match tonight will be unreal. Mark my words.
Yeah.
I could not agree more, man.
Nah, it's no hate on Berto. Berto's nice.
He is totally underrated. I'm saying that as well. I just was thinking that the
Penta did get fed like Pete Dunne and stuff early on, remember?
Yeah.
So hopefully Ray Phoenix will get there.
I guess Berto and Pete Dunne are about the same notoriety. I don't know.
Right. So we already talked about this one a little bit in the last segment, but Damian Priest will come face to face with Drew McIntyre tonight. That's going to be fun. But let's also talk about Collision really fast. We've got Anthony Bowens versus Blake Christian in the Owen Hart men's tournament quarterfinals. Brody King. That's the second match. Sorry. I'm reading the teleprompter bad. We got Bowens versus Blake Christian in a match. And then in the Owen Hart men's tournament quarterfinals, we've got Brody King and Takeshita. That makes a lot more sense. I know the bracket. Sorry, I'm caught up now. And then in the Owen Hart women's tournament quarterfinal, we've got the finalists, Jamie Hayter, or quarterfinals. Jamie Hayter versus Billy Starks. And then also in the quarterfinals, Harley Cameron versus Athena. A lot of great matches here. I'm excited about those. But let's talk about Windy City Riot because this is the most stacked card of the weekend, Shad. Let's just skip that stuff. I just wanted to tell people what was happening. This card is electric. It's in Chicago. It's at the Wintrust Arena, my hometown. Takeshita Tanahashi, never open weight championship. We've also got a 30-minute Iron Man match with Gabe Kidd and Ishii. Hiroki Goto taking on Shota Umino. Umino. Whoops. Singles match for that. This is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. And then Dave Finlay taking on Zack Sabre Jr., El Phantasmo teaming with Rocky Romero against Naito and Titan. And then we've also got Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson versus Kevin Knight and Kushida. Shadi, this is the best card of the weekend somehow.
Yeah, I mean, dude, New Japan has had such a strong year already going into 2025. I'm excited, man. I think that we are going to have a plethora of just absolute bangers occurring today. We're gonna be locked in. We're gonna be watching it. Takeshita got himself a weekend, bro. He got Tanahashi tonight. Then he's got Brody King tomorrow. That is a absolute madman, if you ask me. I don't know what's wrong with him, but I absolutely love it. I respect the hell out of it. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Gabe Kidd and Ishii. The last bout was super physical. These guys are going to put a absolute beating on each other. You know, we got using the Jet Setters, the Intergalactic Jet Setters in the tag team action. Zack Sabre Jr. and David Finlay is going to be a technical warfare. But the match that, I'm excited for is the match you didn't mention. And it is for the ladies, man. It is a Miss Mina Shirakawa versus an Azume. I absolutely love Azume, bro. I think she is a creative as hell Joshi wrestler. I think she's able to do things off the whim that is great. Has a good sense of athleticism to her, but also the in-ring ability. And she's gonna go ahead against Mina, who looks to be with her last couple matches that she's got to do out in New Japan, maybe as a non-AEW wrestler. I'm not entirely sure, but that's going to be an absolute banger. I'm super stoked for it. I'm locked in. I do want to say one thing, though, because I have to mention this, because obviously we are going to talk about that. Collision is going to be special tomorrow, because this year's Owens are as stacked as you can make it. And the women's Owen is one of the best women's Owens that they've ever constructed in regards to the people that are participating in it. We are one step closer to getting Mercedes Moné versus Athena on AEW television. And I don't care what anybody says. There is not a match in the United States of America between two women's wrestlers that is more coveted, that is more wanted by wrestling fans than Mercedes and Athena. These are the two best in-ring American wrestlers. Mercedes Moné, at the moment, is the best women's wrestler in the entire world. Entire world. And I have had the biggest take where I always say Becky is the GOAT. Becky, you've been sitting for a little while. You've been being a mom. Mercedes at your neck. She's right behind you. She's tapping on your shoulder right now. She's coming for that GOAT spot. I don't know. It's kind of going crazy. Mercedes Moné is probably better than Sasha Banks. I'm sorry to tell you, WWE fans, that this is the best reign of her entire career. She is reminding people why they, as a company, failed her to realize how much of a star she is and let her shine like she shines. And she is absolutely killing it. So salute to the
I'm
CEO.
in agreement. Shout out the CEO, 1000% shot. I'm in agreement. But Jordy, I also got to get your thoughts on this weekend. What are you looking forward to the most? We got 3 fun cards, and then the outset of WrestleMania week. This is obviously, sort of the calm before the storm, but there's a lot of good stuff going on. What are your feelings?
I'm excited for Stone Cold versus The Rock to get announced on social media by Nick Aldis later on tonight. No, I'm joking. Listen, everyone knows I'm a WWE guy. I'm excited for SmackDown. I'm always excited for SmackDown. They've not revealed an awful lot, which leads me to believe that I think Cody might wrestle tonight. I think he's going to talk. Someone's going to interrupt him, and then he'll end up wrestling. But further to what we were talking about previously in the last subject, Priest versus McIntyre, I need them to, because I went from not being that bothered to being more bothered, but like you said, Shad, it's gone quiet for the past kind of couple of weeks. So I want them to have a segment tonight, whatever it may be, whether it's promos, whether it ends in a brawl or whatever, whether we find out that the match is a stipulation, whatever it may be. I want them to put a little bit more meat on the bones, because I really do think these two have potential to have a show stealer of a match. I think if I was these two, I would be going in with that mentality, because you were kind of main event or world championship last year, and now you've both circled together in a somewhat similar fashion where you maybe think, you know what, I wish I should be main eventing. So I think they'll have.
Can I ask you a question, Jordy?
Yeah,
with SmackDown tonight.
You're gonna mute me.
No, I'm not gonna mute you. Last week's SmackDown was eventful. What is your prediction for what we get tonight with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair?
Well,
it seems like they have only
How do we follow up?
They have only one up their build every time they're against each other.
How do we get past divorce?
Has to get physical. I thought it was heading there last week. I thought it was going to get a bit brawly, but Tiffy hit him with a woo and rolled out of the ring. I guess the only way to up that is a beatdown, is a brawl. Who it comes from, I don't even know. I don't know where the dynamic is and the rhythm of this feud, and like who's got the momentum and who doesn't. I really don't know where we're at with it. Maybe it's best to just.
Ladies got to bleed. That's what has to happen. One of those women have to become vindictive and make the other bleed and have blood.
To be Charlotte, right?
Yeah, she's got to. If Tiffy is truly the babyface in this, she needs to, watch a real women's storyline. It's called Mariah May versus Toni Storm, and take some notes and take some tidbits and implement that in her feud.
Hopefully, the payoff match for this one's a little bit longer than that one was, but.
Yeah, it was a good trios match.
It was a banger of a match. I just wish it got longer.
That's fair. I will say this though: what I'm looking forward to most this weekend, we haven't even discussed yet, and that is on Sunday for Sunday Spotlight. We've got another banger, another all-time interview coming up. I'm not even going to reveal the name. Keep your eyes peeled though. It's me and Shad had a heck of an interview with a really cool guest, new friend of the show. I really think you'll enjoy it. But that, my friends, is going to bring us to the end of today's program. Thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot to us. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. We will see you tomorrow.
I had to tell somebody to call my mama real quick. She needed something.
Oh yeah, there's your hint. I'm just saying, thank you guys so much. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. That's noon Pacific, 3 o'clock over on the East Coast. That's, of course, 8 in the UK and 9 a.m. for my friends in Hawaii. Have an excellent Friday. Enjoy all the shows. We will talk to y'all soon. No, it's not Jimmy Wang Yang's daughter.
Her name is Jazzy Yang, sir.
Jazzy Yang.
But no, we already.
She's a great interview.
God bless her. She's the bomb.
But it's not. Okay, it's already on. Whoops. All right. Everyone have a great, happy Friday. We'll talk to you soon.
He said Tyrus.